Okay, so this is a Support 101 guide focusing on Moira. So first I wanted to start out with the very basics of playing supports. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was support synergies, because now that we have the 222 role queue, um, it makes sense to know who to best match with who. So first things first, here are all of our supports. And first combo that I want to talk about that synergizes well and is currently the meta is Moira and Lucio. Why? Well, Moira is exceedingly good in this meta because she can DPS and heal through shields with the use of her orbs. And Lucio is good in just about every meta because of the utility he provides via his speed buff. Speed is good always. It gets you where you need to be, allows you to position well, and start attacking the enemy more quickly, which allows faster ult building, etc. Speed is just insanely powerful, and he is currently the only one in the game who provides speed. Why he works so well with Moira is he can get the entire team, Moira included, close to the enemy position. In the meantime, while he is speeding, Moira can provide enough healing to cover the entire team. When they get into position, they can essentially swap roles in that Lucio can start to cover some of the healing during the team fight, and Moira can provide extra utility by DPSing and with her orbs scouting and calling targets. Now, sometimes during team fights, people take more damage and Moira will have to swap to healing, but that's what makes Moira and Lucio so strong together, is because even though Lucio's healing is not as strong as Moira's, she can swap at any time from DPSing to healing as needed. Also, Lucio provides exceptional peeling support in that he can protect anyone on the team. He's an excellent, I call it the ambulance playstyle. You see someone in need of help on Lucio, you speed boost over to them, you might boop them away, or speed boost the person in trouble away back to healing to Moira, etc. Now, the next combo I want to talk about that was very popular, not as popular nowadays, is Mercy and Zenyatta. At first, you might wonder why, because they kind of have two different positioning styles. Mercy usually is kind of in the fray, but on the edges of it, whereas Zen should be positioned fairly far away from the team fights as he's fairly fragile and doesn't have any mobility. But where they synergize is actually in the utility that they provide the team, and that is damage boosting. Mercy, of course, has her damage boosting beam, and Zen provides the Discord Orb. So, Zen provides the Discord Orb, which offers 20% increased damage to whoever is marked, and then Mercy can provide a 20% increase in damage to whoever I think it's 20%. Anyway, she provides a damage boost to whoever she happens to be damage boosting. If that's on a high DPS target like Widow, Pharah, Ashe, McCree, and they are hitting discorded targets, they're just gonna melt them. It's great for any sort of single target DPS. The next combo that I see fairly often nowadays is Moira Mercy. In actuality, this combo is not very good together. They do not provide much synergy at all for one another. Moira is in the fray. She's healing, DPSing, trying to secure kills, etc. Mercy should be a little further out positioning-wise than Moira would be, though maybe about the same. But the thing is they just don't do much for each other synergistically. Why you do see this combo is usually because the Mercy is pocketing a DPS, preferably a Pharah. And in those cases, they work good together because Moira can essentially heal up the entire team by herself. She can keep those 4 people minus the Mercy and whatever DPS, hopefully a Pharah, up on her own. And Mercy is free to just pocket the shit out of a DPS and provide the most value possible out of that single DPS. Some of the other combos, let's see. You do see Mercy Baptiste on occasion. Their synergy is all right. I'd say about middling. The main thing that comes with these two together is Baptiste can cover Mercy reses with his lamp. I personally don't like that cooldown usage because when you res on Mercy and you're using a lamp to protect her, first off, lamps don't survive long enough usually now, but if it does work, then you've wasted 2 really important support cooldowns at the same time for 30 seconds. But provided that the Mercy can get a res off on a high need target like a tank or something, that can be very useful. But it's usually preferable that Mercy just tries to res someone who she's not going to die doing it. Also, Baptiste does help in providing Mercy an upwards track to Guardian Angel too, which is pretty nice just so that she can kind of stay in the safe zones. Yeah, I think that's all for those. Because Baptiste's ult doesn't do anything for Mercy, it doesn't up her beams or anything. It does up the damage on her pistol, which is kind of nice. And if she's damage boosting somebody, like say a soldier who might be ulting through a Baptiste ult, that also is additive. So that's pretty cool. That is nice. I'm trying to think of any other known combos. At the moment, nothing else. Anna, let's talk about Anna for a bit. So Anna is kind of tough for me in terms of synergistic combos. Because my thing is, especially in the lower ranks, people do not play Anna correctly. Anna is a sniper. She has a sniper rifle. But at the lower ranks, I see all these people playing Anna, and they're right up in their team's asses. And it's like, why? Why are you doing that? No, she's a sniper. Stay away, stay back. She doesn't have mobility. She needs that distance. And I think where that comes about is a lot of people probably don't have the confidence in their aim, which is kind of ironic because the further away you are on Anna, the better your aim will be. It might take some getting used to at first in terms of the positioning and stuff, but yeah. But in terms of synergizing, Anna actually does, because of her grenade boosting healing and nullifying healing on the enemy team, she does synergize decently well with just about anything. But for me, where the issue comes is, like with Lucio. I see a lot of Anna and Lucio pairs, and they are decent because the Lucio can peel for the Anna and protect her. And this is a great thing for Lucio to do. The only problem I see is that the Anna is positioned way far back like she's supposed to be. He's essentially wasting his utility in that he's only healing or speed boosting the Anna and not the team. So he wants to be with the team, and usually if she doesn't need protection, that's perfectly fine. He can be up with the team and doing that, but sometimes if she's too far back and found by somebody, it's a very delicate pairing. Let's call it that. I do like the Anna Zenyatta pairing because their positioning requirements are very similar. Both want to be far back and out of the fray, so they can protect each other pretty well. A Nade Discord combo on an enemy is going to destroy them because they will not be able to receive any healing, and they're receiving increased damage, and that's great. And then, of course, if Anna also manages to hit a friendly target, his Orb of Harmony will be doing more healing. I do actually like the Anna Baptiste combo because these two synergize really well with Baptiste's ult. Because everything Anna does is amplified by Baptiste's ult. So the healing that they can provide a friendly team is insanity if it is in position correctly, that the both of them can make use of it. They will just be able to burst the crap out of your health. You'll be so healed. I really wish I saw this strategy more often because it's an insane amount of healing that can be done. The only issue is that Baptiste's positioning is definitely a lot different than Anna's. He kind of wants to be up in high spots and kind of out of the way and that sort of thing. But the sort of advantage to that is that Anna can definitely hit him very easily if she's positioned correctly in terms of healing. He can also heal himself. The only thing is that healing doesn't provide much synergy because she's a single target and he is a AoE target healer. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. In that kind of way, they kind of cover each other's weaknesses. But yeah. And then there's Brigitte. I struggle with Brigitte because I feel like she provides a similar utility to Lucio. I kind of look at her ult in the same way as Lucio's. It provides armor, whereas his provides shield. But she doesn't provide the speed boost. So she has that AoE heal. Right now she has the targeted armor pack heal, which is good. But without the speed boost, I have a hard time seeing right now any reason to pick Brigitte over Lucio. And they also sort of provide the same sort of peeling backline support, in that they're supposed to be the protectors of the weaker members of the team. That being said, like, if you're not good at Lucio, pick Brigitte. She's definitely beefier than he is. And then her stun is definitely... Lucio does not have a stun. So that stun is going to be great for dealing with flankers like Tracer. So, like, if you have maybe if you're playing Lucio and with a Moira or whatever, and there's a Tracer and she's picking off your team, maybe Brigitte is the better answer. I also want to talk now about maps. Specific healers tend to do better on certain maps than others, mostly due to their positioning requirements. For example, Anna does not do well on King of the Hill maps. I wish I could tell every support player that I see picking Anna on King of the Hill maps that she doesn't work well. Because she is a sniper. She needs long sight lines. If she doesn't have those long sight lines, she has to sit in more vulnerable positions and it's easier to pick off. So no, Anna does not do well on those. I do not recommend her. I mean, obviously there are certain situations, but they're rare. Just King of the Hill maps. Don't do it. She's not good on them. But there are maps, and usually you can think, oh yeah, this is probably a good Anna map if it's a good sniper map, like Junkertown, Watchpoint Gibraltar, King's Row. Those are all excellent Anna maps because they have very good sightlines. It's kind of the same deal with Zenyatta. Zenyatta can get away with being in closer. I don't like him as much on King of the Hill maps, but because his ult is an AoE, a large circular AoE, he does okay because in all likeliness, people will be grouped up and he can make a good use of it. Mercy does very well on maps that have a lot of elevation differentials, if that makes sense. The first thing that comes to mind for me is the first all the points really on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Because you can start on the high ground, go to low ground, and if you have teammates on high or low ground, you can go back and forth very easily with Guardian Angel. And that makes you a lot more difficult to hit the more you can flop around and change elevation. Of course, if you have a Pharah, that kind of circumvents it, and you can pretty much do that on any map with a Pharah. Let's see, what else? Brigitte, Lucio, Moira are all very good on King of the Hill maps because they succeed the most when the team is likely to be grouped. That is where they are gonna shine because they have those AoE heals, and the more that the teammates are forced to be in them, the more that you can help them. So that's where they do the best. I would say Lucio and Brigida in particular, hi Sophie, have what I call space control the best, in that they provide the best control for a certain amount of space. Lucio, because he can boot people out of it, he can speed people around it, including himself, he can be up on the walls riding it, etc. Brigida, because she can stun them. She's essentially just like a bulwark in the area, providing that defensive healing, I guess. Baptiste also has a decent, like, he's very difficult for me in terms of saying, like, oh, he's really good at these maps. I would also say that he's very good at King of the Hill maps because he does have very good space control, what with his ult, and the fact that he has, like, those AoE heals. But I also think he does, like Mercy, good on stuff where he can be up at different elevations using his boots. Yeah. So, that's that. Now, let's talk about Moira in particular, because she is really good right now. So let's start with the basics of Moira. So you have your orbs. You can choose healing or damage. And this is the main thing for Moira. I kind of like to look at every class as to what is it they're trying to teach me about the mechanics of Overwatch when I play this class. And with Moira, it's trying to teach you decision making. And that's exactly what it is, because every time you throw out an orb, and you in general want to throw them out on cooldown, what orb is going to provide the most value for my team? Notice I said value. I think a lot of people confuse things when I say value, because they say, well, keeping my teammates alive is obviously the most important thing that I can do as a support. To which I say, no, you are a support. Support, not healer, support. And sometimes being a support, actually, it's better if you let one of your teammates die, if it means you can kill a high priority target on the enemy team. You just have to take that idea of value in mind when you pick which one you want to do. So, the general uses, of course, of the healing orbs is that it's going to heal everyone in range on your friendly team. It is a projectile, so it can be eaten by Sigma and Diva Defense Matrix. I don't remember what the Sigma absorb thing is called, sorry. Damage orb, same thing. But the main thing that you need to remember with orbs is they do bounce, and they slow down when they are near their specified targets. So one thing that can be useful to pick up, a lot like Junkrat bombs, is learning to use angles so that you don't give away your exact position, especially when using a DPS orb. One thing, especially like throwing them into tight corridors so that they can't escape the orbs, are great ways for killing flankers or people who are off on their own. So, for instance, let's see, I'll just throw it like that.
This is my will.
That did not go as I wanted it to. It does take some practice, and obviously it doesn't always work. But, yeah, you can kind of see that they bounce. So, let's say I wanted to kill this guy here, but I didn't want to give away my position. Well, I can throw that away into the corner. Ta-da! I didn't kill the guy I wanted. Well, this isn't working out, is it? Anyway, you sort of get the idea. Same goes with healing orbs. If you can keep them like contained like that, it's gonna do a lot more healing to your team. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is audio cues for Moira's orb. One thing that I tend to do, I call it a flanker check on Moira, especially if the enemy team has like a Genji or something who keeps coming up on our flank. I'll do a flanker check, and I will turn around, and if I see like a corridor I know flankers will check, and I'll just throw an orb in there. And if you see that crosshair, or you hear that tick, 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 that means it's hitting something. So you know there's someone back there, right? So that's an important thing to know, and then you can call to your team where they are. So that's definitely an important thing to pay attention to. Next is Moira's Fade. The Fade is your get out of jail free card. And as a support, you have to know that you are always target number 1. If people see you, they're going to try and shoot you and kill you. It's just the way it is. They want you out, they want to kill things, and you're preventing that. So, do not use Fade to engage in a fight. Ever. Just don't. You want to save it for a situation where it's going to save you from something. And it can save you from a number of ults, a number of large cooldowns. It can get you out of bad positions into better ones. The nice thing is it has a fairly short cooldown at 6 seconds. And there are some tips and tricks that you can use to get better with Fade, or to get you in better positions. Like, you can go up and off of objects to jump upwards with Fade. That sort of thing, get you up onto fun places. But I wouldn't worry about that at the lower ranks. And then of course this Healy, left click, and right click, which is her damaging. I call it the suck. One tip I do have is you'll notice I have a unique crosshair for Moira, and that is because this crosshair in particular makes it so that anything you have within the circle, you will be hitting with your damage. It's just a really easy visual representation to see, like, oh, can I hit that there? Nope, but I can there, because he went in my circle. So I highly recommend that crosshair for playing Moira. Her damaging things is a necessary part of playing Moira, because you use it to finish off people. You also use it to replenish your healing, etc. The important things to know about Moira's healing spray is that it is AoE. So anybody within this cone will get hit by it. I tend to use the audio cue to know if I actually hit people, because sometimes when you're at a distance it's hard to tell if you're, because you can kind of see like that friendly bot there on the left did have it, but it's really hard to see the little pluses coming off of him sometimes. So I use the audio cue to see if I am actually healing them. It makes a shoo
you seem in need of aid.
Noise. But it is a lot further than you might expect. But yeah. And that's all. Typically, like before we enter into a team fight, I'll try to get the Healy, just a little tap like that on everybody, because it has like I think it's like a 6-second time where it does stay on and continue healing them as a hot heal over time, and so that's important. I try to keep the hot going on tanks all the time. Obviously things get chaotic, and that isn't always the case. Tapping will save you more than just straight up doing that. However, it does drain it faster, but it provides a little bit more healing for when people are taking more damage. So you need to make that decision. Will I be able to save them and save my resources by just tapping? Or do I need to provide more? And then last, since I have it up, let's talk about Moira's ult. It's a straight line. It goes through shields, which is excellent. Charges very fast. I like to use it as a engagement ult, meaning that I start fights with it. Especially in this meta with all of the shields, you being able to go through the shields, especially to tanks like Orisa and Rhine who think they're safe behind their shields, and then suddenly they're getting a Kamehameha beam to their face. They tend to panic a little bit. Try to hit... The main thing you want to be doing with Moira's ult is hitting both your teammates and enemies with it. That's how you get the most value out of it. So try... Like, usually I try to use it to, for instance, if Orion charges in, I'll try to hit him with it whilst also killing the enemies that are around him. Maybe I have a video that will be going through where I essentially am coaching myself while playing Moira. Yeah, because I'm hoping that will provide a little bit more of a visual helper in terms of these things. So anyway. Yeah, that's the basics of Moira. As far as Moira positioning goes, I think her positioning is pretty easy. Unlike tanks, you don't want to be right in the enemy's face with Moira, because you do only have 200 health, and while you do heal yourself, it's not for that much. And if you're getting hit by more than one target, or for instance, if you're really close to a Reaper, he will kill you. So, and you have a really long range. Let's see, like, this is 0, 20 meters. So you've got quite a long range, and if you make better use of it, I think you'll find you'll do better.
Your contributions to the furtherance of science are to be commended.
Staying alive. And really, that's the important thing with playing a support. Well, any class in this really is just staying alive. That's the main thing that I recommend to anybody who, when they first want to try learning something new or playing the game, is just learn to stay alive first and foremost. Other stuff will come along after that, but stay alive. Okay, so let's leave this and rewatch my game. Sorry if this is long. If I make it too long, you're not gonna watch it. Ugh. Okay. Real profile, replay, Vanna. We will watch the whole thing, because I didn't play Moira the whole way.
Traveling
so we'll just watch this first part.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Double,
okay.
triple, quadruple check your mouth.
So we're just setting up here. You'll notice me behind... Let's see if I can zoom out. Yeah. I'm kind of behind a pillar here. That's because it's a safe place to be. That Anna is up in their asses. Ugh. She might just be trying to throw a grenade or something. See, now here I'm trying to get my spray on everybody for any sort of chip damage they take. I can heal it back up again. I'm saving my orbs. I put my orb here on the Vegeta because she's in a tight room there. Let me see if I can pause this. Talk about that. So, that was an excellent example of orb usage. Because that Brigitte was alone in an enclosed, tight space. And she didn't have the range there to be able to kill me before I killed her. So, I just sent out a damage orb to her. She can't do anything about it. She has no way to fight that, and she's in an enclosed space, so it's not going to be able to do anything. Obviously, the Doomfist either saw her or saw me fighting her and went in and killed her. Good orb use by me. Yeah! Me! Okay. I saw McCree. Okay, so that was what I call a scouting orb. I was throwing it out, just try to, in general, get an idea of who... Oh, look at our Anna. Trying to heal Doomfist there. Another scouting orb. Just trying to get an idea of the general stuff. Now, right there, I saw a soldier in that room off to the left. But I just used my damage orb to scout. if I'd saved it, I probably, depending on whether or not he had his biotic heal thing, probably not been able to heal him, or kill him, sorry. If he didn't have it, I would have been able to. But as you can see, he's kind of off from his team there. He's over here, and his team's over here. Could I have gone and killed him? I don't think so. Because as Moira, he's got a lot more DPS than I do. I'm just kind of a dot class. I don't think I could have killed him before anyone else. So what I did do in this situation, though, was call out that there was a soldier over there. Let's see what happens. I don't remember. Alright, so there you'll notice that I used Fade to get away because the enemy team was getting really close and I didn't want to be near them. So I got out. That was another sort of scouting orb. I think I was trying to get the Cesaria, but you'll notice that I threw the orb over here. So it will hit this building and bounce back this way. And hopefully hit her again. You'll notice there that I was just tapping to spray heal. I don't know what that is. Sorry, distracted. So I was just tapping and not holding it down because I saw that our Anna was on the Orisa. So I made the decision that she didn't need burst healing at that moment. She just needed some hots to get topped off. And I'm just... Oh! So, we'll talk about that in 1 second. But there, I did turn around to kind of just keep my hot up on the tanks and the Anna, just to make sure that they were okay. Anna is up in the nonsense. Anyway, so there, let's go back and see if we look at where I died. Why did I die here? So first off, I am low health, and I'm not absorbing any damage, and I don't have an orb up because I just used it to damage the enemy team. Now, two things could happen to save me here. So let's see. I could have gone to this health pack back here. I don't really know. I've never really used this before. So let's see. So there's this big health pack back here. I could have gone and got that, saved myself. Could have requested healing from our Anna. I could have tried to slurp the Brigitte, but probably wouldn't have worked because they both, Ryan and Brigitte, have shields. Or if I had not used a damaged orb, I could have used a healing orb to heal myself along with the tank, though I'm not sure that that would have been a very high value use of it, personally. Probably my best option would have been to go back for that health pack. So, let's go back to here.
No one can hide from the hunters.
I'm spawning. I do have ult. That's nice.
There was a flaw in my approach. My ultimate is ready to be unleashed.
I'll let my teammates know. The thing here, though, was...
This will restore you.
I didn't like that healing orb usage. I shouldn't have done that. That Anna was going right to the big health pack, and she was fine. So I shouldn't have used that there.
Regenerating your cellular structure.
In terms of using my ult, I could have used it here to try and contest, but I pretty much judged that since we were down so many people, it wouldn't have really done anything, and it was better to use it to get more value out of it later. So I noticed Cesaria alone there, so I threw an orb at her. And then I noticed a Brigitte, who's also alone. Finished her off, that was good. I should have saved my damage orb previously there, because I wasn't going to kill the Zarya. She had a personal shield. Shouldn't have used it. I did use a healing orb previous there. I don't know if that was useful or not, honestly. Once again, I'm low health. I'm not keeping track of myself, though I am sleeping to get health back, so that's something, I guess.
Surrender to my will.
Okay, so I decided to use my ult here to initiate because there was kind of a Rhine in the way, and Genji, as you can see by his post there, was starting to engage, and their enemy team was kind of grouped up. So let's see what happens. I held the Doomfist, tried to kill that guy up soldier up top. Okay, I used Healing Orb to quickly kind of get my entire team back up to stable there. But my ult didn't really do anything. So I don't think that was a very good use of my ult. Zarya is dead. That was with the Doomfist ult. And I could have healed a Doomfist there. I mean, I healed him with that, so that kind of provided that there, but it would have been better used elsewhere. I do want to point out that you'll notice that I try to stay behind the shields almost always, unless like here I'm going out to try and kill that Moira or pick someone off. And if I don't have a shield, I try to stay behind corners so that I can easily line of sight things.
My will made real.
I threw out my orb there in hopes of finishing off the Moira. Because she was low health. But as we can see, she got back up again. Probably because she met up with the Brigitte. But it might kill that McCree, in which case it'd be worth
Allow
it.
me.
Nope. Okay, wasn't worth it, and then again she died. I used the fade there to get out of the old Moira coalescence, enemy Moira coalescence. Now I'm trying to keep my tank alive. Because it was only the two of us there, that did not work out. And the second that Genji died, we were out of position. I shouldn't have been there.
There was a flaw in my approach. Repairing the damage.
Just a little squirt. Keep my DPS alive. Squirt, squirt. Okay. Damage. I wanted to put it on that McCree because he was alone there. The only issue I have with that damage orb is I was kind of just throwing it into a really big open space. So it wasn't likely to hit or kill him. It was likely to just bounce off into some random direction. Would have been better used if I had saved it and maybe, I don't remember if I get stunned here, but probably used a healing orb either way. Yep, a healing orb would have been much better here. Also, I faded there, and for whatever reason, I did not fade out of the grav. I don't know why. I should have faded backwards, and then I could have hit my coalescence and saved us. Wasted opportunity. Grav pretty much wiped us. And we lost the point.
There was a flaw in my approach.
I could have saved us there.
Has reached the checkpoint.
Okay, so now my off healer has changed from Anna to Zen. I always try to pay attention to that because I know the Zen is going to be way far away from me. So if he needs heals, so you'll probably see me flip him back to look to heal out of him, as I am right here. Just trying to kind of keep him alive. As a support, when your number one job is not to keep the tanks alive, that's typically number 2. It's to keep your other support alive. Always. They are your best friend. Okay. Anyway. Another thing to keep in mind when you have a Zen is that we now have a Discord orb. So if you see that on a vulnerable target, you can definitely finish them off pretty easily with her damaging right click or an orb.
Allow me.
Scouting orb. Once again, I kind of threw it out into an open space, but I wasn't really hoping to kill anybody. I was just trying to see what everybody was at, how they're doing. There's a Ryan up there for some reason. Okay, my Zen is dying. I'm not doing anything for him. Not good. Zarya randomly moved the orb, or the shield there. I'm trying to keep Genji alive.
What is that melody?
I wanted to keep the Sigma alive, but I was too slow. Okay, so let's talk this coalescence. So, I saw that our Sigma was ulted and in a very vulnerable position, so that I wanted to provide support to him by keeping him alive and hit coalescence there to save him, but it was too late and he died. So I tried to make a good value out of it by killing something, and I saw that the Orion was low. And Moira, when Orion is low, is great with coalescence because he can't do anything about it, right? You play Ryan, you know that. But he charged and went out of line of sight, and then I had trouble tracking him, and then I lost him, and he went down below. And so I was kind of just left there like, uh-oh, now what do I do? And so now I'm hitting this Zarya, who's pretty much full health, so I'm not, and my teammate is here, so even if I wanted to get more value out of it, I should have been aiming at my teammate in hopes of hitting their Moira, or someone of lower health totals, because while her coalescence does do damage, in a decent amount, it's not enough to kill a tank outright, especially when they have healers and such that can keep them alive.
Incoming!
This will heal you.
So I sent out my healing orb there to save the Genji, and it's in an open area. He's over here now. I don't think that was a good use of it. See, he died. Now, I'm trying to support my Doomfist here, because he managed to kill off someone, so it's a pretty good high value if we can kind of keep up that chain going. And I know that he's full health, so I'm just trying to provide whatever support I can and value I can by killing off anything and helping the Doomfist. And Moira faded. Doomfist is getting out there, so I get out. He got low and died really fast there. I don't think there was really anything I could have done to save him at that point. What he really needed to do was get behind a barrier or out of line of sight of that McCree. Yeah, let's see what happens. He dies.
You seem in need of
Go
aid.
back here to try to get behind a barrier, and then Arissa moves it forward. So I heard a Ryan in the back, but then I looked at the kill feed and noticed their son had killed him. So I was just kind of fading there to get back to him, but didn't need to.
A touch from afar.
Alright, with the support, you definitely want to pay attention to any sort of changes your team makes, because that can kind of change your playstyle. Like now, I have a Roadhog off tank. Roadhogs are pretty self-sufficient in terms of their self-heal, and you definitely want to pay attention because you don't want to be throwing heals into them, like a shitload of them, and then just have them use their vape and heal themselves up. See, now there I saw the Brigitte was low. We're getting hit a lot and discorded, and so I wanted to help finish her off there. And as you can see here, well, our Zen is a little in trouble, but everyone else, pretty good. Safe time to DPS. One thing I will say here is in the future, I think I should be playing back a little more, just because I'm fairly close into the front lines, and the Zen I keep seeing keeps getting pretty low. He's getting hit by stuff, and I'm not really healing him very much. Alright, now that's an example, a great example of a defensive fade. The Roadhog hooked me, and here's a trick. Whenever a Roadhog hooks you, hit whatever button you have hotkeyed for fade. Mine's left shift. Just hold it, and you will fade right away, right when you can, when the game lets you. So, if the Roadhog is not fast enough, you can fade away and out of his combo for the hook, shot, punch.
Team up for special attack.
Not too sure about the Orisa ult here. No one's really in close. But I did throw a damage orb because they do get boosted by these, so we'll see what happens. Aha! There. Don't know how, but I noticed there was a McCree behind. I know I called this out to the team, by the way. Not that they did anything about it. Okay, so, mistake number 1. I engaged a McCree alone when he had stun up. Stun is gonna kill Moira. I suffer from it. Most Moira players have this problem in that they tend to think that they can kill anything they want. No, that's not true. If Moira has stun, or not Moira, if McCree has stun up, he's gonna kill you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't fade out of a stun. So, I should not have engaged him alone. I did, however, call to my team, hey, he's setting up for an ult. Come on, guys. How I could have killed him on my own, maybe, was if I had shot a damage orb. I had it up into that area first, got him low, and then finished him off before he got in range to stun me, but that's still a really risky play as a support. And I probably wouldn't want to do that on my own still. At least I ate the stun so Genji could kill him.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Tell me
So
how
that
this
was a very
feels.
poorly thrown healing orb. And can you guess why? Because I just threw it straight out. I am surrounded on all sides by beautiful walls that it could have bounced off of. So if I had thrown it, say, to that wall right there, it would have bounced back here and then over here. It might have gone in there, but it eventually come back out again. And that would have provided a lot more healing for my team. Now, the other thing is I did it to save that Genji, but he didn't really need it, to be honest. He healed up, I assume, through his Zen orb. And so it was kind of a waste of an orb. Alright, yeah! So, what did I do right there with my orb? I threw a damage orb into a tight corridor. That's what I did right. Like Junkrat, Moira loves tight corridors because the orb will just bounce around in there and do a shitload of damage. And unless they have like a Diva or a Sigma to absorb it, it's just gonna do its thing. And they can't do anything about it. And it's great. Anytime you have a tight corridor and there are people in there, you want to toss in those damage orbs. Or healing orbs if your team's in there too. Yeah, tight corridors are good. You also saw our Hanzo was all on the dragons through that. That was good too. Now that I think of it, I was all excited because that was a really good orb. But if our Hanzo was just going to ult them, I probably didn't need to use it there. Oh well. Then again, I'm still trying to get ult. That's another thing you have to take into account is, you know, you want to have your, as a support, okay, especially when you're playing the defensive ult supports like Lucio and Zen, you want to have your support up as much as you can because that is how you're going to provide the most value. Moira's ult doesn't have as much value as Lucio's or Zen's, but it does have some in that it does allow you to DPS through shields which provides a lot. So keeping and having your DPS or your ult up is definitely an important thing to keep in mind. Oh, I'm not following myself here. Hang on. Okay. There is this. Okay. So, I was face to face with death. A soldier ulted there. So what I did is I faded over here. Let's see if I can come up. So, he's here. I'm here. Let's rewind it a little bit. And then go to me and third person. Okay. So, right here. Hanzo ult, me through awesome orb, killed off things in there. Now, I see a hog. Hogs, I like to just DPS them because they're easy ult, right? You've heard me talk about this a lot. He can't do anything against me except kind of shoot me, and as Moira, I'm just going to kind of heal that up as long as I keep DPSing him. And if he hooks me, I want to avoid the hook. So if I know he's coming up to, like if there's a hook or he's trying to aim for a hook, I will disengage. If he hits me with a hook, hopefully he's slow and I manage to fade out of it. Okay. So I tried. The Orisa there was in front of her shield. I think she was probably trying to kill the McCree. I tried to save her there. Yeah, that wasn't a very good position for her. I probably could have saved her if I was in a better position, but then it would have left me vulnerable to the McCree. Now, let's talk this. We've got the soldier, and he is ulted. It was a really bad ult, by the way, because if you look, most of his team is dead. But anyway, so he's ulting, and I fade out of it, and I'm making use of my environment to keep myself safe from his ult. Because as we all know, it auto-tracks. So I faded here because I knew there was a lot of corners that I could line of sight him with. Because line of sight is your best way of protection. What I didn't realize was that our Zen had ult, and he was going to ult it. Probably would have been better for me to just stand in the ult and DPS him, because it's an immunity to that, and I could have killed him that way easily. And then the Zen gets a lot of, value that way. But whatever. Let's pretend the Zen wasn't there, and this was an awesome fade, and I was like, oh yeah, line of sight. Okay. So I'm line of sighting here. I notice there is a hog. However, the hog has not noticed me. I must have used an orb at some point. Okay. But at this point, the soldier has noticed me. The hog has not. But the Zen has come in to save me. I'm sort of DPSing. I'm trying to keep our Zen alive because I know he's in a very vulnerable position being in here with a Zen and a hog and a soldier.
Get into position. I surrender to my will.
The hog ults there, and I kind of decided to get out of dodge. But I did manage. It said I killed the soldier, but here it says. So the hog must have come up behind the soldier and killed him, but I'd just done enough chip damage that I got 100. So the hog is still ulting here, which makes him vulnerable to my ult if he can't push me away in time before I kill him. The one thing that I do think here that I didn't notice when I was in the game was there's a McCree back here. And Moira, you have to remember, can be kind of vulnerable when she's ulting because she can't fade anymore. Okay. So there. Now, one thing I want to point out in terms of Moira is before you ult, in general, you just want to throw out an orb, be it whatever's best at the time, a damage orb or a healing orb, just so that, you know, you've got that extra boost going out. But I did manage to ult and kill the hog with my hog's help, healing up the hog here. Then I go for the Rhine, because Rhines are great targets for coalescences, as we spoke about. I got hit by a fire strike, I come back out, and I heal the McCree, and I'm trying to keep the hog alive, because he got stunned. Oh no! I went in front of the shield though, and I got hammered out. And hammering a ulting Moira is always really good because she can't do anything about it. Okay. Alright. Good use of Fade for me. I defensive Fade backed. And just so you know, I imagine you know this, but just in case you don't, Fade, whatever way you want to go, you can choose based on the directions S, WASD if you're using those. Back, whatever. Anyway, so I did defensive Fade backwards, and then I used a healing orb because I was low on health, and I knew that. And I pushed it forward here, and I tried to put it in an angle so that it would bounce back against the truck and back here. Though, to be honest, it would have been better if I bounced it back and forth, because it would have been more in the fray and provided more healing. It didn't even go the way I wanted it to. It just went straight, so provided even less value. Doesn't matter too much, though, because, as you can see, the McCree killed both me and the Orisa. Why both of us were not behind the shield to save ourselves, I do not know. Or behind this truck. Anyway.
Damn it.
Come on, let's bring it together.
Okay, so here I swapped to Lucio, and we do lose from this point on, but since I'm not Moira, I won't go over anything anymore. But I hope that helps you to kind of see what I'm talking about in terms of positioning and choices in terms of healing versus damage orbs. I definitely have a lot to work on in terms of getting the most value out of my orbs. And there I didn't have any really great coalescences either. And in general, I would say that this map isn't the greatest for Moira, as it has a lot of wide open areas where your orbs can kind of just trickle off and do nothing. So yeah, try when playing Moira, try to pay attention to those tight and close spaces so that you can get the most value out of your orbs. Anyway, hope this helps.